I'm on my way to Laughs Comedy, and my first comedian that I'm going to be interviewing is Tom Clark. He's hilarious. I've met him before. I'm going to ask him a few questions about comedy, his career, and being on the road doing funny business.
Let's keep our applause going, folks. Why not, huh? Yeah. Good. Yeah, let's just clap. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Going? All right. Hi, Tom. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for being here on the road doing your funny business.
That's right.
And I really appreciate, I really do that happen, but it is very humid.
It's the desert.
recently.
I'm going to blame the desert.
It's very humid though. What's going on with that? I don't know.
Yeah, they always say it's a dry heat, right?
Yeah, right. And everyone is wet. He's sweating. I'm sweating. You're sweating.
Isn't this haboob season or something?
Maybe. That's just for Phoenix. We don't get those.
You don't get haboobs?
I hope
I just
not.
like saying the word haboob.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So really, I just wanted to talk with you and pick your brain and just get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
And I'm curious if you had changed your name or is that your name, Tom Clark?
That's my name, Tom Michael Clark. My parents, my mom said she named me Tom Michael Clark in case I didn't like Tom. I could go with Michael, but
You like Tom?
I like Tom.
Okay.
I like Tom.
All right.
I got a little annoyed when people said Tom the Bomb, but then Tom the Bomb turned out to be a good thing, da bomb. So.
You are the bomb. Yeah, that's awesome.
But in grade school they didn't have da bomb yet. So.
No, yeah, they said it properly.
Right.
The bomb.
The bomb, which it felt like a fat joke.
Yeah. Oh no.
All right.
Yeah. It was just predicting the future.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Da bomb.
Yeah.
All right, I like your style. Where my mother's loins.
Okay.
And,
What city?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's right.
Yes.
I remember that.
I
do you remember
I'm
that?
still loyal to Milwaukee, all the sports teams, everybody I love. My dad's.
like a glove with a
Yeah,
baseball
that's
in
the
it.
Brewers, the M
Yeah.
and then the B. That's,
Yes, okay.
Yeah, it's one of the best logos in sports.
Okay.
And then my dad's still in Milwaukee, so I go back there usually a couple times a year.
All right.
Yeah. In Milwaukee, I took a comedy class, but really prior to that, I lived in Mexico. I lived in Juarez. I worked with kids in gangs. I was volunteering after college, and comedy was always something I thought about. So I was working with these hardcore cholos, and I was like, it was tough. It was scary. And one of the things that I did to break the ice was I would just be silly with them, and I'd just be like a dope, and they got such a kick out of it that I was like, well, I can make them laugh. I can make anybody laugh.
Right.
So that's sort of my first, but then I took a class when I got to Milwaukee in '94.
Okay. And so, I know it's not right to ask a woman her age, but it's
No,
okay to ask, how old were you then at 94?
I was 23, so I've been doing stand-up for 25 years. So
Wow.
I'm 48 now. Keep our applause going, folks. Why not, huh? Yeah. Good. Yeah, let's just clap. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. The water break sponsored by Kirkland. Kirkland for all your water needs.
Who do you idolize?
Who's my idol?
Yeah.
Steve Martin is my guy. That's who he's the one who, when I was really struggling to figure out my identity on stage, and when I saw, somebody, Billy Gardell, who's a very funny comedian, is on Mike and Molly, and he told me to listen to gave me a list of 6 comics: Woody Allen, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, Bob Newhart, and then Steve Martin. And out of all those, Steve Martin was the one that really stuck with me because he was so silly, and he just sort of made fun of comedy, and I really loved that irony and sort of not revealing a lot about yourself. As far as what inspired me is I did social work for about 5 or 6 years, but I loved doing it. I loved helping people, but comedy was really something I felt passionate about, something I love, and I think that's the only way you can do this as a job because there's so many roadblocks along the way that it's easy to get discouraged. So it was just something that I loved, just for the pure love of it. So I did comedy mostly in Milwaukee from '94 to 2000. In 2000, I left my day job and I got a college agent, which was a big thing, and that was thanks to Frank Colliander, who helped me out, because we both started in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Frank's obviously a huge deal now, but Frank was very helpful to me, and around 2001 I decided to move to LA and do it full time. So since 2001 I've been doing it full time. It's been my only job, and you know, I teach stand-up, I teach improv, but I mainly do stand-up as my main source of income. I had a joke about my mom and dad are Catholic, very strict Catholics. They never gave me a sex talk. Instead, they gave me a pamphlet. And it said, "So you're thinking of having sex?" I opened it up. It said, "Don't." So it's still
That's pretty funny.
good
That's
joke.
a good joke. And I know you're in between sets, and I don't want to keep you forever.
Oh, yeah.
But one question. There's two more questions I'd like to ask.
No worries.
Who would you like to see perform in the comedy realm live that you haven't seen perform?
You know, I love Bill Burr, but I have seen him live a few times. I don't know, you know, Rickles would have been one, you know, before he died. Bob Newhart, I guess, would be the one. I saw Steve Martin and Martin Short together, so that was definitely a nice bucket list thing.
Right.
I'd say probably Bob Newhart. If I can get an opportunity to go to see him, I think that's...
Okay, we better hurry.
Yeah, he's
You
90
better
years
reverse
old.
that question in a way. Who would, or which comic would you like to see you perform?
Oh, which comic would I... Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. I mean... You know, it's always one of those things of, do you want to meet your idols?
Right.
So it's so I worry about Steve Martin being in the audience and not liking me. One time though, I was doing improv and Billy Crystal was in the audience, and I saw him genuinely laugh at something I did on stage and complimented me. So for me, that was a huge moment. So at this point, I wear that pretty proudly. I guess Steve Martin would be cool to meet. Martin Short also. I'd say both those guys.
You'd want them to see your set.
Yeah, I'd really love to. Yeah.
Okay, let's go. What is your favorite memory on the road? After you took your
My
career
favorite
on the
memory
road.
of the road. I mean, just recently I got to open for Jim Gaffigan at the Milwaukee Arena.
Awesome.
So that was my hometown. My dad was there. He's 92. He was 92 then. He's 93 now. So him to get to see me in front of 14,000 people was pretty amazing. That's just last year. I'm trying to think. South Africa. I went to South Africa in 2007, and I spent a month in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool.
Doing comedy?
Doing comedy
for
for 4 weeks. There's a comedy festival, and that was definitely something that I never thought I'd be able to do. Also going to Hawaii, so just a lot of the recent stuff. And lately it's performing with my wife. Best advice I ever got. And Billy Gardell giving me that list of comics was definitely helpful. I think somebody else told me, like, what 3 characteristics do you want people to see on stage? And that really helped me sort of define my persona of what I wanted to be on stage, and helped me get rid of jokes that weren't under that realm. So, like when I started, I wanted to be silly, I wanted to be physical, and I wanted to be sort of a guy who thinks he's cool, but he's not, and the audience knows it, but he doesn't. So those were like the 3 characteristics. So that really helped me sort of define my characters. I think the 3 characteristics you want the audience
For
to
real, 2 more questions, and then I'm done.
The show should be called For Real, 2 More Questions.
For real, 2 more questions. What is the best advice that you could give to a new starting comic?
Love what you do. Love what you do, and take advice, but don't take all the advice. You know, like I was talking to a comic yesterday who's from here, and he was talking about, like, Gary Gulman has these tips that he's giving out, and he's like, well, he said I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do crowd work till I was like at least 5 years in. I was like, do what your heart tells you. You know, it's like you should develop your material for sure, but I think don't have these strict measurements. Comedy to me has always been about having fun and sort of trusting your instincts. So if you want to do crowd work, do crowd work. You might be great at it. You could be Don Rickles, or, you know, but
right.
Don't limit yourself by that advice. I mean, if you feel something, do it. I think but listen to all the advice and take the advice that you feel fits you. You know, don't worry if you don't take it. It doesn't matter.
This really is the last question. What question did I not ask you that I should have asked you?
Bombings. What's the best bombing story? But it's the worst for you. What's the best bombing story?
What's your best bombing story?
There's so many. I think opening for Pauly Shore when I first started, and his manager was. I got backstage. They're just booing me mercilessly, and he goes, and I closed my act by singing about a potato called the Potato Song, and he goes. And the manager looks at me, what the hell is that? I was like, comedy? That's my favorite thing. It's just like, it's just sincerely saying, like, I think that was comedy. They don't like it. Yeah, that's probably my worst bomb.
I love your comedy, and I really, really appreciate you doing this for me.
Thank you.
And I don't know where this is going to go, but I appreciate it, and you're my first.
Yes.
So
Episode
this is
1.
Great. Episode 1.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and I'm going to go, and I promise that I can give you laughs. I will give you laughs, and I'll try to make them out loud.
Please.
Usually they're quiet, and they're like... So I will try to be out loud. Thank you so much.
Return to the camera and say something. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thank you so much.